It's showtime.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
You know, the right to bear arms is because that's the last form of defense against tyranny.
Washington is fundamentally corrupt. There are more words in the IRS code than there are in the Bible.
Made in America, heard round the world. You're listening to Blunt Force Truth. I'm Chuck Woolery, and this is my co-host, Mark Young. Northam is on the hot seat. I did not wear those plaid pants. I don't know who that guy was in those plaid pants. What is going on with Northam, the governor of Virginia? And let me just set the table with this. He was lieutenant governor before he was governor. All of a sudden, someone found his yearbook and came up with all this racism. How is the press just not curious at all about these people?
Okay, well, first off, I'm really sorry that I was in that photograph, and then a day later, I decided that is not me in the photograph. If you dressed up in blackface, or if you were wearing a KKK outfit while you were in med school, do you think you might remember being in a KKK outfit? Would it take you 2 days to remember, wait a minute, that was not me in the KKK outfit? Then he says, but I did shoe polish up my face and enter a Michael Jackson dance concert, because putting shoe polish on your face isn't racist.
Hey, by the way, is it Ted Danson? Was it Ted Danson that did that? Who was the guy who did Cheers and went out with Whoopi Goldberg for a while? What was his name?
Ted Danson. Ted Doomsday Clock Danson.
Yeah, Ted Doomsday Clock Danson. Okay.
Well, don't you remember Ted had
he was blackface. Remember they went to a party and it was like as big to do over him blackfacing himself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ted Danson was the guy who made the 10-year Ted Danson Doomsday Clock. We were all going to die.
Oh, okay.
I still have a Ted Danson Doomsday Clock. The batteries have gone dead in it because it ran out 10 years ago. Fortunately, there's a new Ocasio-Cortez 12-year doomsday clock now.
Well, that's right. Yes, it's all coming to a grinding halt in 12 years.
It is. I was ordering one of those on Amazon, but I didn't know if I should send half the money to Bezos' wife and half to him, or if I should just order it through Amazon and let them split it up. But at any rate, so now I've got an idea for Virginia. I think Virginia just needs to hold a lotto and see if anyone wants to be the governor.
You're right at this point.
Because now the governor is, they're trying to get rid of him. Now the lieutenant governor is charged with a sexual assault.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And now all of the...
And he's saying Northam made him do it.
And Northam did it. And I ask you, where is the Me Too movement? Where is the Me Too movement coming out saying, we believe all women? Mm-hmm. Why aren't they rallying to this woman who claims that the lieutenant governor assaulted her?
You know, it's funny. You and I kind of live this every day, and we look at it. It's not the main focus of our lives, but we're aware of what's going on, and we make ourselves aware and available to what's going on.
We abuse ourselves by making ourselves aware.
In some cases, that's probably true. But the other thing is, I wonder if people just are looking at this and see the total hypocrisy and double standards that are used by the left and the media, and they get away with it, or if they just kind of absorb it as that's natural, because it's so unnatural. And yet, I mean, God,
the media covers this up.
Yeah, but they didn't cover up late-term abortion. When I'm talking about late-term, you're talking about, is a baby alive and is a baby when it's in the root canal? No, in the root canal. It's in the birth canal.
Yeah, we don't. No. Now you're going to be
probably worse than a root canal.
Putting babies
I've never
in root
given
canals.
birth, but I have had a kidney stone. So anyway, when it's in the birth canal, and then 1 minute later, a second later, or whatever, all of a sudden it's a baby, but it's not a baby when it's crowning. It's just insane what these people believe.
Listen to what the Democrats did. The Democrats are upset because Northam maybe dressed up in a KKK outfit, maybe dressed up in blackface, maybe had a glove and a pair of moonwalking shoes. And by the way, a little sidebar.
And was known as Governor Coonman.
Coonman, yeah.
Yeah, Coonman.
And he was going to moonwalk during the press conference, and his wife stepped in and told him not to do it. So obviously this guy's not very bright. Yeah. But
politician is.
But I digress. My point is, they're upset of something he did 35 years ago in college, which I couldn't care less about what he did 35 years ago. I'm interested in what did he do now? What he did now was he said, well, it would be okay if a woman has a baby and the baby is born and the baby survives, and then we can have a conversation with the mother and decide if we want to give the baby medical treatment or let it die.
Yeah, or
and why is that not a problem?
Well, the pro-choice movement is this in a nutshell. Would you like to keep your baby or would you like to kill your baby? That's the pro-choice movement.
Well, it's kind of like, you know, if you want to keep your baby, you can keep your baby. If you want to keep your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Right. If you don't want your baby, you don't have to keep your baby. Chuck,
what happens to a country when you go down the route of infanticide and people embrace that? I mean, what happens to you?
I think we know what happens there. I think we saw that in Nazi Germany.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
Nazi Germany had infanticide.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking about running. I told you I was thinking about running for president on the Democratic ticket.
What happened?
I said that last week.
You just sprung that on me.
And I got a lot of support. A lot of people are supporting me to run for president on the Democratic ticket.
Outside your family?
Many of our loyal listeners were supporting me.
Okay, good.
I have an idea. I'm going to change my name.
To what?
Pancho Mohammed Young.
I like it.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Pancho?
Can I just refer you as Paco?
We could go with Paco. Do you think Paco's better than Pancho?
Yeah, it's like Beto. Paco. Hey, Paco.
But I want to be Paco Mohammed. Mohammed Young, because I'm going to cover all the bases.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, because my name could be Robert Francis O'Rourke, but I could just call myself Beto because I want to be a fake Mexican. I mean, and by the way, look at the Democratic Party. They got a fake Mexican. They got a fake Indian. They've got a fake Spartacus.
It's a fake party. The thing of it is, I don't. It sounds like I'm smearing all Democrats, and I'm really not. I just wonder how many Democrats on the line who are voters and supporters of the Democrat Party really believe some of the things that the Democrat leadership espouses. And I have to believe that they don't. I think there are certain groups and segments of people who do, but I just have to believe that the people just don't. I mean, I'm sure societies do stupid things. We know that. But boy, this stuff is just beyond the pale. I mean, it is just way off scale, and eventually, hopefully, it will come back. But it seems like it just keeps getting farther and farther out there.
By the way, there's my KKK hat, because that according to Alyssa Milano,
yeah, right,
this
a red
is
hat.
now a KKK hood. A red hat is now representing the KKK. Not to interrupt you there. I just wanted I actually interrupted you on purpose. That's actually, a little trick I just did, just to completely jam up your thinking and throw you completely off of your course.
So McConnell goes and has a private meeting with the president this last few days.
The turtle and the president have a meeting. Okay.
Have a meeting, and the meeting goes like this.
Oh, Mr. President.
Mr. President, I just can't condone a national emergency on the border. It'd be good, bad for the country, and bad for the Republican Party, and So here's the deal. That took on a very Louis Armstrong kind of sound at the end. I don't know if you knew that or not. No, I'm sorry. I'm not great at imitating people.
That might get you qualified as a racist, but go ahead.
Okay. So McConnell is against the national emergency on the border. And, of course, the national emergency was passed, I think, in 75, 77, right after Watergate, by the Democrats, I might assume, giving the president this power. So since then, it's been used 48 times, even for Botswana. I think Obama used it on the border of Botswana. It was a national emergency to us. How? I don't know.
Yeah, because their borders are concerned to us, just our borders not.
But anyway, most of these things that were done 30 years ago are still in place, by the way, these national emergency things. So here's the deal. You got the ability to to declare a national emergency. Other presidents have done it since Clinton, Bush, Obama, whoever. They've all declared national emergencies. And no one said a word about it. You haven't heard anything about it. And now all of a sudden, Trump is going to declare a national emergency on the border, which is very valid. And all of a sudden, it's the wrong thing to do. Republicans don't want it. Democrats don't want it. Mitch McConnell doesn't want it. The House doesn't want it. Paul Ryan didn't want it. And Trump here, so they'll go to the House and they'll pass a bill that will reject him being able to do it. Then it'll go through the Senate. They'll pass it there. They'll send it to the president. He'll veto it and do it anyway. So this is just insane what's going on. It is absolutely nuts. And what it really illustrates more than anything else, to me, is that the Republican Party, by and large, not the party itself, but the leadership in the Republican Party and in Washington, is just as anti-Trump as they've always been. They haven't changed anything. They're not going to change anything. And they will not be satisfied, as well as the Democrats, until Trump is run out of office and they don't have to deal with him anymore being successful, because they can't stand him coming in as a novice and showing them up for getting things done. And I mean, look at the economy. And you hear Schumer come out today, just recently, with a tweet. Rusty read it to me, and it said the economy is terrible. The middle class is being left behind. Well, it's just ridiculous.
Trey Gowdy actually paraphrased Chuck Woolery today.
He did?
Yes.
What did he say?
He said Congress doesn't benefit from solutions. They only benefit from the problems.
Exactly right. So that's what they do. They create problems but never solutions for them.
That's why you can't have a Trump, because in their
He'll
world,
come in and solve the problem.
Right. What is wrong with this guy? He actually wants to fix this stuff. Then what are we going to run on?
That's right.
And that's both parties.
You know, the American people really need to know that, if they don't know it already. And I'm assuming that they do, because they're smart. Most people out there, I always assume, are smarter than I am. So anyway.
Well, keep that in mind, folks. Congress doesn't benefit from solutions. It benefits from problems.
Yeah, they can't run on a solution. All they can run on is a problem.
Absolutely. So, folks, by the way, if you have joined us here on Twitter, look down at the bottom of that little window and you'll see that little box. Click that button so you can share this show with other people. Rusty Humphreys is standing by. Rusty, feel free to break in when you've got some great questions.
I've got some questions for you right now, Mark. First of all, where can I get the red hat, asks Maureen.
Make America a republic again.
Yes, there it is. Make America the Republic again. You can buy these at the Blunt Force Truth store, available at bluntforcetruth.com. Next question.
At
BG1. Well, no, you go to bluntforcetruth.com and you can buy them there, correct? I mean, you just...
Yes.
Yeah, you just go to our site.
All right. At BG135, who in Congress is making money off open borders, do you guys think?
Oh, my gosh.
Could we go to a list of who isn't? That might be a shorter list.
No kidding. I mean, it's just... you know, this is not just about making money off it, though. I mean, it's really about votes. It's about changing the culture. It's about us adapting to a foreign culture instead of foreigners coming in and becoming Americans and being part of the American culture. It's dressed up as racism. It's it's just so much stuff going on, and it's so ridiculous. I find this thing about the border stupid. And I'm sorry, it's just stupid. People know better, and they still are for open borders or not fixing our problems. I mean, if you look at our immigration policies, it's insane what's going on and how they have to release people after 30 days. They go in, they don't have judges, and it's just nuts. So you come over the border, you declare yourself as an illegal, and you're here in refugee status, and they say, well, we can't take you before figure it out. So in 2 years, you come back and we'll set it up. In the meantime, go enjoy America. I mean, that's nuts.
Well, Chuck, there's another issue that people don't realize, and I haven't looked at it under this president, but under Obama, when you look at these people that were coming into the country, the illegals that were coming over, claiming, refugee status, right. If you look at the migration patterns, the Obama administration was deliberately moving all these people into red state areas.
Yeah, so they want to change everything.
Right. So notice when these people came in, they don't send them to California and Chicago, New York. They're sending them to Nevada, and they're sending them to Arizona, and they're sending them, to Tennessee, and they're sending them places where Republicans win. And the reason they're doing that is because they can change the congressional districts, because just living there changes the district, even if they can't vote. And of course, these people now want them to be able to vote. But
and New York
right now,
is doing the same thing. They're raising taxes and sending all these New Yorkers down to Florida. They'll all vote liberal again and end up with Florida the same way, and they'll have to move someplace else until they run out of places to move, and then they're going to be stuck with their own problems.
Now, Chuck, tonight, go ahead, Rusty.
I had one more quick question, then I'll let you go. Drama Song 1 wants to know, where do we go from here? Killing toddlers, 5-year-olds, teenagers, old people for convenience? What's next?
Well, we're talking about a slippery slope issue here. You agree with that, Chuck?
Yeah, it's like there's nothing confusing about this. It's just saying that you agree that infanticide is fine. You can take a child who's, is a month okay? No. I mean, most people would say absolutely not. You can't kill a child after a month. Well, is an hour okay? No, I don't think you should be able to kill a child after an hour. How about 5 minutes? I mean, you keep narrowing it down to where, okay, so it's in the birth canal and it's fine. So is 10 seconds before it's born, is that okay? I think most people would say no.
The same thing happens with assisted suicide, Chuck. We can start by saying someone's terminally ill and we should let them end their life. Then we can go to someone is chronically depressed. Well, what if somebody's chronically depressed and they claim they don't have a quality of life? What if someone is in a coma and we're not sure if they're going to come back? So do we kill them off? It becomes a slippery slope. Here's the issue. You can't give the government the right of life and death.
Or they'll kill you all.
Or they'll kill
people they disagree with. I mean, it's not exactly like it hasn't happened before.
Because somebody's going to pass a rule saying we should get rid of, aging conservative game show hosts because they're a problem.
It's not a laughing matter. That's funny, but it's not a laughing matter. It's very serious, and we are changing our faith-based country, our traditions, our things that have held us together for so long. We're just changing everything right now, and people are starting to, I think, accept it. I don't know. I mean, God, Governor Cuomo lit up the entire, Empire State Building with all these colors when he passed that late-term abortion bill. He's passed. How
terrible is that they lit the building up in pink to celebrate killing babies?
Let me tell you something I don't understand. Now, I'm not a Catholic, so I can't really come from a platform of understanding the Catholic religion.
I have seen you eat fish on Friday, though.
Yes, but that doesn't really qualify me as a Catholic. So my question is, and it's a legitimate and an honest question, why are these people who are for infanticide and for abortion, if nothing else, in the Catholic Church, because I think everything in the Catholic Church is foursquare against abortion. Am I wrong?
I believe that is still the status.
Okay, then why aren't these people excommunicated? Or at least have a conversation with someone and then decide whether they should be excommunicated or not. Where does the Catholic Church as a hierarchy, where do they come down on this? And how do they explain this away of just saying, well, you're a governor of a state, you're doing these things that are totally against our beliefs and your belief system, and yet you still claim yourself to be a Catholic. You just can't be a Catholic anymore. I'm sorry. You can be something else, but you can't be a Catholic.
My guess is, this is just a guess on my part, my guess is that the leadership in the Catholic Church doesn't want to excommunicate because they would probably take people like Nancy Pelosi and now turn her into a religious martyr.
Well, where are your principles?
I don't even have an answer to that.
Okay. Well,
honestly,
maybe no one else has an answer to it.
You just actually made me vapor lock. That's the first time that has ever happened.
Well, unlock.
So the State of the Union address is tonight, Chuck. Are you expecting anything dramatic?
Yeah, I am. I think it's going to be a very dramatic State of the Union. I think that the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi and her ilk, and Schumer and his ilk will all be prepared for what Trump is going to say. I think it's going to be interesting to see just how boisterous they are on the left. and whether the right has the guts to drown them out. So, yeah, I think he's going to expose everything that's going on the border. If he needs to, he'll over-explain it again. And what's happening with the economy, and he'll over-explain that again. And some people will believe him, some people won't. It's now, when you watch CNN and MSNBC and ABC and CBS and all the talking heads, the theme is Trump never tells the truth. He never did tell the truth, and he's a horrible person. So you can't trust anything he says. So I don't know whether people really believe that or not, because they didn't believe it about Obama. And my God, we all know the lies that he told that really affected all of us. I mean,
but Obama had a big advantage, though, because you couldn't accuse him of being a liar, because that made you a racist, and people ran from that.
Well, no, but people did accuse him of lying about, many very important things.
Oh, he didn't lie about anything.
Yeah, with Obamacare and things like that. I mean, I know that there are people out there who tried to lift his skirts and say that was okay, but it wasn't, and I think most people understood that. But yeah, it's I don't know whether people will believe what he says tonight or not, but I guarantee you he will not speak with forked tongue.
Well, there are 4 Democrats already saying they're going to boycott the speech tonight.
Well, but that happens every year. There's always somebody who's dissatisfied and disgruntled, and I'm surprised only 4 of them aren't. I figured the entire Democrat Congress would just, not even show up. Nancy Pelosi has to, but and Schumer probably has to.
What about Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
I was going to say it's going to be interesting to see if Ruth Ginsburg is there along with the other 8 justices, and see if they're all sitting on front row.
Well, Ruth Bader Ginsburg has not been seen now for 48 days.
Well, no. So I saw a piece, and it may have been on Drudge this morning or on Breitbart, one of the two, and it said that she had been seen in the last couple of days, and she looked fabulous.
Well, somebody just sent us a note here that she was seen last night at a play, but people are saying it was an imposter.
Oh,
Janice Ratner is saying Ruth Bader Ginsburg is going to her daughter-in-law's concert tonight.
Well, okay.
Where does one locate a Ruth Ginsburg imposter? Those cannot be hard. Those got to be tough to come by.
Well, Ruth Buzzy came pretty close. That's why we call her Ruth Buzzy Ginsburg.
I kind of give you that one.
Yeah.
But she's gone. We can't get her to do it. So, anyways, I am expecting that there will be some fun tonight.
Don't you find it interesting how they've made Ruth Buzzy an icon? I mean, they're going to
do a movie on her now.
There'll be a Broadway play about Ruth Buzzy Ginsburg. I mean, it's just insane, and how much weight she can lift in the gym, and how she works out all the time. And this poor little frail woman, it's silly.
But in the play, she'll be a black female.
Whatever.
It'll be like Hamilton. So the Democrats have brought up Stacey Abrams to do their rebuttal to the president's speech tonight.
But the problem with the Democrats, the loudest and the most obnoxious people that they have, all lost their races. I mean, this is a woman who wouldn't concede that she'd lost the race.
But have you noticed that to become a star? Think of that. If you want to become a star in the Democratic Party now, you actually have to go lose a race.
Right. Yeah. Well, they're doing the same thing with Beto. He's like the champion, and he's lost a race.
Yeah, but he can be Beto, but I can be Paco.
Yeah, he can't be senator, but he could be president.
That's true. And now she's going to give the rebuttal. Now, Schumer already gave a rebuttal yesterday. Now, check this out. Schumer gave a rebuttal to the president's speech, which Schumer has not heard and does not have a copy of. Well, and he went point by point talking about how the president's lying.
Yeah, about the economy. One of the things. Don't you find it fascinating that Schumer thinks the economy's doing horribly? I mean, what did he think about it when Obama was president? Did he think the economy was awesome?
Yes.
Well, I mean, how could you possibly make that comparison? That is, I mean, seriously. Are people just that stupid, or does he just believe they're that stupid?
The Democrats work on a psychological theory which is called availability bias. And that's actually what they work against, Chuck. And what availability bias is that humans have a tendency to default to the information that they hear the most often, the most frequent. So with the Praetorian Guard, the media on their side, the Democrats lean very heavy into keep saying it over and over and over and over, and people will eventually lean into that. Yes, they will. They will accept that as being factual because it's the available information. Give you an example. This infanticide claim by Northam. Okay? Mm-hmm. Fox News has covered that extensively.
Right.
MSNBC, zero coverage. CNN, zero coverage. HLN, zero coverage. ABC, NBC, zero coverage. CBS covered it, and they took out one clip of what he said, and the only clip they ran was, well, we'll have to have a conversation. Mm-hmm. That's the amount of coverage that this Northam saying that it's okay to kill live babies got in the media. So unless you're listening to a podcast like Blunt Force Truth or a Rush Limbaugh or a Fox News, you didn't know it. You don't even know about this. Mm-hmm. You have no idea. The only thing you know about Northam is he's a racist. That's all you know.
So do you think, see, I don't think it's beyond question that Northam may survive this. Even with all the Democrats that have come out, all the black, Caucasians who have come out against him and everything else. I still think that he could probably survive this in his own mind and just say, I made a mistake and, I tried my best to get away with it and I couldn't do it, but I'm a different person now. And so here we go. And just let him off the hook eventually. It may take months, but you're only governor for one run anyway. You can't run again.
Sir, if you're hearing a loud noise in the background, that's the helicopter in our parking lot starting to take off.
Okay.
So, but think about this. I couldn't care less if Northam dressed up as a KKK person or in blackface 35 years ago. Are you the exact same person you were 35 years ago?
No. None of us are.
Of course not.
I mean, there's certain basic principles and values that we all maintain throughout our lives, unless something catastrophic happens and we change. But primarily, we're the same people, and I'm sure that back then, I don't know, 85. Gosh, 85. I was still doing Love Connection, so I was a grown man in my late 40s, early 50s.
But you didn't do any of those shows in blackface. I can vouch for that.
No. No. But I mean, when you're in high school and college, you do a lot of stupid things. I mean, you do. You just do stupid things. And you either grow out of it or you don't. And but the left has the problem with them is they've created this environment where they're holding everybody responsible from birth as to anything stupid they've done in their life. And they've applied it to the right. And so now they have to apply it to themselves. And so they box themselves in with a few of these things. I mean, look at the Me Too movement. That was not about a lot of Republicans or a lot of people on the right. That was about all Democrats and Hollywood and people who are liberal.
If this information about Northam had come out during the election, we'd have a Republican governor in Virginia right now.
That's true. Yes, that's right.
We absolutely would.
And the other thing is he played up the Charlottesville thing a lot. And he literally he used racism as leverage in his campaign.
Which does make him look more of a hypocrite now.
I'm not sure you can make the left look any more of a hypocrite, him or anybody else. I mean, it's so hypocritical.
What I don't understand is who cares what the guy did 35 years ago? Let's talk about what he did last week. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that ought to be the thing that's concerning people.
Well, I mean, it's not that you can't chewing gum and walk at the same time. You could be concerned about both things, but you wonder if the other one came up as a deflection. I hardly think so, but, who knows? And politics is such a weird thing. I mean, they play so many games with the American people. These people are cunning. They're not very smart, but they're cunning.
So let me ask you this. Abraham Lincoln once said, that I have found, this is him speaking, I have found that a man with no vices is rarely has any virtues. Mm-hmm. Are we getting to the point now where no one, and here's what, let me back up for a minute. To accomplish anything in your life, you break some rules, you do stuff maybe you're not crazy about, but that's part of taking risks, and that's part of accomplishing things. we're getting to the point now where the only people who can run for public office are people who have done nothing in their life.
But you this illustrates a great point, Mark. Most people in politics who have always aspired to be in politics know this. And so they try to live their lives once they understand they're going into politics. This guy was a pediatrician at one time, so he doesn't count. But people, once they decide to go in politics, they literally measure everything they do on politics and whether they can get elected or not. They lead very careful lives. Would you agree with that?
Lives. Yeah, boring would be the better term.
Okay, but would you agree with that?
Yes.
So this is why Trump, who comes out of nowhere, and all of a sudden he didn't live a life like that. He was not going to run for politics. So these politicos have to kind of insulate themselves with these so-called perfect lives where nothing ever happens. They don't do anything, or if it does, it's covered up so well that no one will ever find out about it. So, for what it's worth.
But think about it. We're making it. We're creating an environment where no one of accomplishment will ever want to run for an office.
Well, come on, really? Don't you think that's what they want?
Of course. And think about it. What you just said. Well, when these people at a young age decide they're going to go into politics, they live their life through that filter.
That's right.
I don't want anybody in politics who grew up and made a decision they wanted to be a politician. I want somebody who has no plans on being a politician, who gets frustrated and sacrifices 4 years of their life or 8 years of their life to help their country, and they get the hell out and they go home.
Yeah, the biggest
people who want to spend their life at it.
If I had one problem with what the founding fathers did, it would have been term limits. I think they should have kept it in the Articles of Confederation. They didn't, and I think it was a mistake. I don't blame them for their vision of thinking, people had to ride horses to get the way they were. It was way beyond before the car came and airplanes and trains and stuff. But that was one mistake that they made, because now we have seasoned politicians.
Yeah,
people who are seasoned to the point they're 90-some years old before they get out of politics.
Right. Yeah, to expand on that, what Chuck's referring to is the original Articles of Confederacy that predate the Constitution actually had term limits for all of the elected positions. And it was negotiated out during the negotiations for the Constitution. Mm-hmm. And Ben Franklin is actually the guy who said, you know what? It's not worth arguing about, because no one in their right mind is ever going to come here for more than 2 years or 4 years, because it's too big of a sacrifice. So let's not use that one as a point. Let's not die on that hill. And as you just said, how could they have possibly perceived automobiles and airplanes and travel, and of course people getting rich, because you go to Congress and you make $177,000 a year and you keep 2 homes and you come out worth $30, $40, $50 million. Which the founding fathers never thought about that one either.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's just one of the things, but life goes on.
So, and by the way, I'm just going to cover this real quick. I don't know. I know you know the answer to this. Rusty, do you know the answer of how people go to Congress broke and they come out millionaires?
I don't know that one. I'm thinking about running so I can find that one out.
I'm going to answer the question for you. Here's what you do. So stick with me, folks. You get elected to Congress. Now, once you're elected to Congress, you now start a PAC. That's called a Political Action Committee. Your Political Action Committee is a 501c4 tax-exempt corporation. Now, you have a PAC that is Save the Spotted Owl PAC, because you feel very strongly about the spotted owls. Now, here's the Chuck Woolery Spotted Owl Foundation. Chuck's in Congress. Now, up comes, we'll just pull a company out of the air, a company like Monsanto. Monsanto maybe have a bill that's coming up before Congress. They need Congressman Woolery to vote a certain way. They can't pay Congressman Woolery off. That would be illegal. So somebody on K Street goes over and they go to Chuck Woolery Save the Spotted Owl PAC. And they say, you know what, we'd like to make a $400,000 contribution to your PAC, because we at Monsanto, we care about the spotted owl. But what we would like we would like Congressman Woolery to come to our offices and give us a 20-minute presentation on the spotted owl. So they write a check for $400,000. So far, everything's legal. Now, the Chuck Woolery Spotted Owl Foundation has the right to hire Congressman Chuck Woolery. It's got a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
No.
You don't like that.
No.
So they have the right to hire Congressman Chuck Woolery as a promoter, as a speaker on behalf of the foundation. So the Chuck Woolery Spotted Owl Foundation writes a check to Congressman Chuck Woolery for $300,000 and as a honorarium to get Congressman Woolery to go to Monsanto and give a 20-minute speech in front of 5 people about the spotted owl. And that's how you leave Congress with a pile of money.
That's it. That's the
Rusty,
simple explanation.
Russ, are you ready to run?
I'm going to start working on my PowerPoint presentation right now.
So now a person comes in who's just been elected to Congress. They don't know how to do this, but they've got this whole staff that they're given. They all know how to do this.
Oh,
so they'll
they
jump
do.
in and say, now, you can do this and this and this, and this works too. And you're above the law. They won't come get you because you're entirely legal. And so on it goes. And the American people pay for it with our tax
And we
dollars.
look at people like Bernie Sanders. So Bernie Sanders, devout socialist, Marxist loving, character that he is, has 3 homes. Okay, now, how are you this people's warrior, socialist, Marxist hero, and you've got 3 houses? How do you do that?
Well, you're a phony, obviously.
Yes, you're a phony.
Yeah.
Because socialism is wonderful for you, not for me.
Look, I mean, this whole, we keep talking about the progressive movement and all that kind of stuff, been around for 100 years. I mean, 2 of the things, the progressive income tax, how can we ever get rid of that? That's Woodrow Wilson. And another Woodrow Wilson, 17th Amendment, destroyed the Senate, literally destroyed it.
Well, right now, you look at, we've got, 31 people on the Democrats or 33 people on the Democrats running for president?
Mm-hmm.
Now, think about the debate here. The actual audience will need to be on the stage, and the people in the debate will need to be in the seats because there's so many people running for president.
Well, I mean, number one, it's like a question of person. If you got a 3-minute answer, you're already up to 45 minutes.
So think about what's happening here now. And I know you're watching this. Every person that announces is trying to out Marx or out socialist the last person that announced.
That's very interesting. It's every person that's announcing, with the exception of Howard Schultz, who, they've ready to almost hang, who's running as an independent, but he is a Democrat. By the way, have you ever known an independent who wasn't a Democrat?
H. Ross Perot, he was a Republican.
But he wasn't. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's true. I was just thinking inside, outside of politics. Everyone who is an independent in politics or in Congress or in the
as
Senate,
a rule, like Bernie or
Democrat.
Lieberman.
Right. They're all. Yeah.
By the way, Lieberman was the only guy in Congress who came out and said Northam doesn't need to resign. He did it 35 years ago. I give Lieberman credit for that. He's actually not following the party line and just being reasonable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But anyways, back to Schultz here. No, Schultz wants to run. The Democrats are going to they're doing everything they can to destroy him right now.
Yeah, they don't want him to Perot their incredible nominee, whoever that is.
Now, Ocasio-Cortez said Howard Schultz doesn't have the experience to run for president. A barmaid from TGI Friday says that Howard Schultz, who built a billion-dollar company, doesn't have what it takes or any experience and isn't smart enough, by the way, to run for president.
It's kind of funny because we're working across purposes here. I don't know whether you notice that or not. We're for civilian legislators. We want people to come out of, like a bartender to come out and be a congressman, right? And so here's Cortez, who's worked in a bar as a bartender or whatever. She's got a degree. She's dumber than a bag of rocks, but she is what we would like to see normally be a congressperson or a senator, and that's someone who has not lived their whole life as politicians, and yet it's so easy to criticize her on the fact that she's never been in politics and she doesn't know anything about it. But she just is dumb anyway. I mean,
but she's become the philosophical leader of the party.
Yeah, you wonder why they kind of heap this praise on her. I'll tell you what I think. I think that because our colleges, universities, high schools at this point are literally filled with Marxists who are teaching Marxist principles and adhering to Marxist principles, and they're turning out all these little Marxists, that they really think this is the time that they need to go for socialism, and they're unleashed at this point, thinking that there are all these millennials who will vote for them. So that's, I think, why she has so much praise by the left.
So you look at Pocahontas, and she is just chasing Ocasio. She's screaming New Green Deal, which is Cortez's deal. Warren is screaming that we need a 70% tax on tippy top economics. And Warren is saying, check this out. And Warren is saying this is a quote, "I'm tired of freeloading billionaires living off the public."
Yeah.
How many freeloading billionaires have you met in your life? You know many billionaires. Right. You have met a lot of billionaires in your life. How many of them were freeloaders that didn't work?
Of course.
And how many of them worked 60 and 70 hours a week, even into their 70s and 80s?
Now, you know what? These people don't understand. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Mark and Chuck, Eileen wants to know, should the NFL owners be taxed at 70% for not hiring Kaepernick?
No.
Well, that was Cortez's other deal, that all NFL teams need to be charged 70% tax for not hiring Kaepernick. And Patrick just showed me how Ilhan Omar, by the way, Chuck, she's outdoing Cortez because now she says we need to have a 90% tax on the rich, which Harris is promoting also. Kamala
Here's
Harris.
The thing with Kaepernick. Let me jump off the boat here for a second and talk about Kaepernick. If Kaepernick wants to play football, he should go try out with these teams and see if he can make the team. Period. That's it.
He got offered a $7 million contract.
Yeah. So,
he turned it down because he said he wanted $9 million, and he walked away from it.
Everybody he's doing everything wrong, and people supporting him are doing everything wrong. It's like they don't understand what the hell's going on.
He walked away from a $7 million contract because he wanted $9 million.
Okay, so he could have been playing football this year, couldn't he?
Right. So now why are you blaming the NFL players, the teams, for not hiring? Now, by the way, she says that the NFL players who make $2.1 million on average per year, they do not get the penalty tax because they're just working guys that are being mistreated by these evil billionaire team owners.
So
I got an idea for the
Democrats. That's all I've heard all my life, and that's true.
It is right now the race. Here's the Democratic policy: taxes to 70 to 90%, open borders, kill babies, and more regulation on business. That's the platform, right?
Well, yeah, and that's going to improve the economy.
And that's going to make everything better.
Well, sure. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Of course, everything just the opposite of that really makes sense. So you're running on a platform that makes absolutely no sense, that will do just the opposite of what it says it will do. So how do you sell that to people? How do you do it? How do you get away with that? That's what I don't understand, unless you just have imbeciles.
I think you can sell it. That's the problem. I think you can sell it.
And why do you think so?
Because first off, get back to availability bias. When you have every media outlet in the country on your side except one TV network. That's all
you're hearing. It's all you're hearing, so that'll sell it.
Right. When all you're hearing over and over and over is billionaires are evil, businesses are evil, we need free college, I forgot, everybody's also free Medicare for all. Medicare for all is on everybody's platform now. And you're think about the message, Chuck. Free college, free health insurance.
Do people ever think
guaranteed high-paying jobs?
Do people ever think in reality if you open the border and, I don't know, not a billion people, but millions of people come into the country, how are you going to afford it?
Well, first off, when you flood the
support-
country with low-wage workers, what do? You
Well, you put other people
reduce
out of
the
work.
cost of labor.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's
You
true.
reduce the cost of labor. So we're going to flood the country with low-income workers, and at the same time, we're
Raise
going to
their-
demand that
raise
you
their
get
minimum wage.
$15 an hour for working at McDonald's. Now, here's the thing that they don't understand. Everybody is running, Cortez is running on $15 an hour minimum pay. What they don't understand, and there is enormous amount of history to show this, there is an equilibrium that operates in the economy, in business, when it comes to the cost of labor. Whenever labor becomes out of balance, so whenever labor becomes too expensive, corporations deploy their assets on technology to reduce the number of people they need. This is just how it works. When you go and you say, we're going to make people at McDonald's get $15 an hour, you just decided to take a third of the people in McDonald's and put them on the unemployment. Have you been to a McDonald's recently and seen the kiosks in the lobby now?
I have, yes.
You don't have to go to the counter, do you?
No.
How many jobs does that get rid of? Do you know that they can automate a McDonald's to operate with 3 people?
Mm-hmm.
They can do everything robotically. They already have done it. They can run an entire restaurant with 3 people. Okay, so give those people $15 an hour. Everything else is being done by a robot. That's what you do with this. So State of the Union address tonight, Chuck. Are you going to be on Twitter? Are you going to be there tweeting live?
I may. I don't know. I'm going to listen to it. I want to listen to it, and I don't want to take my focus off listening to it. So I'll be on Twitter for sure, but I'm probably not going to be tweeting a lot. I'll be tweeting some.
I will tweet some. I will prolifically tweet during the Stacey Abrams response.
Yeah, you have to listen to that.
Yeah, so folks, you can tune in for that. I will definitely be commenting on that. I think we need to hold a State of the Union drinking game tonight.
No, I don't drink. You know that.
I know you don't, but this is like the Super Bowl for us, though. Isn't it?
It's it's not really. I mean, the State of the Union is like the most boring thing in the world usually. It's just that the interesting thing about this is since Trump shut down the government, since Nancy Pelosi denied him the opportunity to give his State of the Union while the government was shut down, it's all of a sudden become the focus and interest on everybody. So this is going to be a big deal tonight.
Well,
And
here's
I've
how the
got to
drinking
go.
game works. It works like this. You take 1 shot of Drambuie every time Pelosi rolls her eyes. You have to take 1 shot of Mad Dog 2020 every time she goes slack-jawed or sucks on her dentures. And then when she does the angry stink eye, you have to drink 1 40-ounce Colt 45. That's the game.
What does the angry stink eye look like? Oh, I see. Yeah. Thank you.
And then don't forget this. I don't know what that's about. What is
That's
that about?
resetting your dentures on the bottom, I think.
Is
I'm
that
not
what that
sure.
is?
I think.
Because I never know what that is about when she's always complaining about President Bush. And then she just, I don't know what that's about.
Hey, listen, you guys, I hope you enjoy the State of the Union tonight. Be sure to
We
tune
still
in.
got 10 minutes left. Don't run off.
No, we don't have 10 minutes left. I have to go.
We do. You don't have to go. You have a 1-hour show.
No, you don't understand. I have to go.
You have to go. All right, then we're going to have a short show here, folks.
Yes, we are.
I wait a minute. I got to cover another thing. Did you see Warren do her Facebook video, her Instagram video?
Yes.
I'm going to have me a beer. Was that the most sincere video you've ever seen in your life?
Hurry up, Mark.
I'm going to have a beer. And I want to call your attention. Did you look at the cookie jar that was on the shelf behind her?
No.
Look in the video. In the background behind her is a cookie jar of a black Sambo cookie jar of a black kid eating a giant watermelon.
Oh, stop.
I'm not
This is all
making
too
this
good.
up.
That's
How
too good.
stupid are you?
I know. Say goodnight, Gracie.
If you like today's show, don't forget to leave us a 5-star review. on Twitter, iHeart, Stitcher, wherever else you get the show. And we'll be back on Thursday, and we'll be back next week.
Thanks, everybody. Can I leave?